Hey, welcome back to episode 15 of the Minnesota Due Process Coach. It's super fun that we are 15 episodes in. I would have never guessed that I would have made it this far and kept going this long with how crazy things are. But it's been a super fun experience and um, just overall really good time. So this week I'm not joined by someone again. I feel like it's going to be like this every other week thing as we're kind of wrapping the school year up. But as a lot of you know, it's these last couple weeks here. Sometimes I think it's like one or two for a lot of my districts, some three of school. We're wrapping things up. We're getting things done. We're checking things off the list. We're getting lists prepped for next year and ready of what we need to do. And we're really just kind of hoping for the best. It's kind of a wild ride. I feel like the best word to describe it is the Wild West, because that's what it feels like. It's kind of this mad dash and rush to get everything done, and everyone is extremely busy. I was super happy to snag Kelly last Friday on a whim because she's off. But it's honestly hard. I will be very frank with everyone for myself to get on here and to find someone. I shouldn't even say find someone to to get someone to come on because everyone's just so busy. So I'm hoping after these next couple of weeks we kind of get into this lull of summer and I can grab some more people to get on to the podcast and really talk with us about some different topics. So I'd love to obviously continue to keep talking about special education because that's important to me. It's what I like to talk about. But what I was really going to hop on today to talk about is just really ensuring that you get all of your things done before you leave for the end of the school year, along with if you're a family, really prepping for the summer and what that looks like. Because there's a good amount of you that are parents of students with disabilities that listen to my podcast, and there's a good amount of you that are in the same field as me, doing kind of the same work in a different, capacity. So for us in education, teachers, coordinators, directors, we're wrapping everything up right now, just so maybe get, a good reference for families of what we're doing. We're really ensuring that all the due process is completed and finalized and finished and in the history, and that you have copies, that copies are in the files, that everything is looking good. We're also wrapping things up and doing progress reports. A lot of us are doing end of the year progress reports to send to you in conjunction with your general education report cards. That is a requirement from MDE. However, your district decides to report on that. Both of my districts do twice a year because that's how gen ed report cards come out. So families get two a year. This was a good conversation that I was having with one of my teams yesterday about progress. We haven't really talked about it on the podcast a lot, but really having that understanding that of when progress happens, right? Sometimes we like to set firm dates, and I've talked about this with people. It's so hard to do because you might have an IEP in there, you might have something else going on, and the dates don't always work, right? So typically what we do is we progress in that December, January time because that gives us a good amount of time from the beginning of the school year, the quarter ends, the semester ends, whatever it is. And then what I typically tell people is that second round of progress, or your first round could be, happens right before your IEP meeting because, and I say this because that data drives your instruction and that drives your next IEP. So you should be progressing that IEP before you meet with that family because that's the data that you're giving them. So essentially, you're giving them a progress report, a new IEP, and a PWN when you're giving them all their new paperwork. The progress report is from the previous IEP. You just wrote a new IEP, and then you have your PWN to go with that. That is the cleanest way I feel like to do it because that really helps a lot of people wrap their minds around, I have to progress before the end, before this IEP meeting happens. Because again, like I said, it drives your next instruction of where you're going, right? You should have that data collected off of those IEP goals and objectives to move forward with your next IEP, whether you're continuing that at a different percentage or a different targeted area. Can't be the same, right? Remember that. But or you're moving into something completely new because the students met their goals and objectives, which is amazing. Um, so really understanding that we should be progressing before an IEP. Because the question yesterday was, I had a May IEP. Do I progress? And I said, no, because you should have progressed before that IEP happened, right? So you should have gotten that data and had that second progress report basically before the new IEP took place. Doesn't always work out that way. Progress reports are a really tricky thing. They're a huge thing that they're looking for with compliance monitoring right now. We're all trying to get those cleaned up and looking good. But they are hard, right? Because we're moving from a lot of people not understanding that you need to progress the goal and the objectives. It is an MDE requirement. There's a huge presentation on MDE's website if you're ever curious. I can't talk today. If you're ever curious, there is a huge presentation there along with a lot of materials on what they're looking for. What they show you compliant progress reports and non-compliant progress reports, different things like that. So again, progress will be coming out here at the end of the school year and will be sent home either, I would hope, with your child's report card, or it could just get sent home in the mail or in the backpack. Don't have to sign, it's just yours to keep. The other thing we're gearing up for too is extended school year and whether your student qualified for that. We talked about extended school year in episode 2. So if you have any questions about ESY or there's anything that you're thinking about, I highly recommend going back to that episode. There's a huge trail of paperwork that has to come with that. So really making sure that you have that done before you leave for the summer for your students. There's, the ESY sheet that to send them to ESY, the transportation documents, ensuring that your IEP was amended with the correct services in it because they need services for ESY, um, all the different things. So as coordinators, administrators, lead teachers, different things like that, we're looking to ensure all those pieces are done. We're also looking to, like I said, to make sure that you have all of your due process done for the year and that everything is cleaned up and ready to go. Um, and that you've communicated everything with families, shredding files, moving your stuff to the communication log. Every district does the communication log differently. I've always done everything goes in there. Some districts only do due process and keep communication somewhere else. I think it's cleaner if you keep it all together. But again, it's your district's choice. Every district is different, and we've talked about that. We all operate different with our policy and procedure and the interpretation of what MDE has to say, which makes things kind of complicated. Um, but just those checklists, you probably got a checklist. There's also SOPs or summary of performance for your seniors that are graduating and not going to those transition programs. So they're getting those summary of performance pieces done before they graduate, before the end of the school year. Those need to go out to the students. And they need a progress report too. So your summary of performance, I was just talking with a director about this 2 days ago. Your summary of performance is exactly what it says. It's a summary of performance in different areas, transitions, post-secondary, all of that, functional academics, everything. And ultimately a recommendation of where to go moving forward and a list of accommodations and modifications for them to take to different spots if they were getting a job, the moving on to post-secondary education into college and they need some support that way, to disability services, different things like that. Your progress report is exactly what it says it is. It's progress on the goals and objectives from the IEP. You need both, right? So those need to go home to families. So you need to make sure that those are getting done for your seniors, your graduating seniors. So that's a piece for high school level. We're doing a lot of transition meetings right now, those preschool to kinder, and then those middle, I'm getting them backwards here, those elementary to middle school kids, fifth to sixth grade, if that's how your buildings run, your preschool to K. That's all happening, right? To make sure those kids are placed correctly, that families are meeting the new school, are getting questions answered. Every district does that different, but there's a lot of big things happening within special education that we're trying to really finish up, clean up, get buttoned up for summer. So, which is really crazy to think because this was a really fast school year. There's also a lot of different things to think about for summer for families. If families aren't attending extended school year, maybe they're going to general education summer school, which is great too, or those summer services, or maybe they're just participating in some summer activities. I think it's really important for us to give families places to look for those, and you can find those within your county, Scott, Dakota, Carver, wherever you are, Hennepin. Your county has massive amounts of resources typically for those families and your community ed. So your main district, if you're a charter, so say the public district that you are in, Minneapolis Public or whatever city, they might have a community ed department and they're going to have a list of activities for students to be able to engage in over the summer. And if they don't have any, looking at surrounding cities and towns, because typically you can enroll in those even if you don't live there. So just really knowing that there's a lot of resources out there. It takes a little bit of time to dig for them. I think as parents and a parent myself, we're kind of weeding through this crazy May of signing our kids up for every activity we can find. Um, to keep them active this summer and keep them engaged. And it's kind of this time where you're just like, here. Oh, I forgot to sign up for that. I'll better sign up for that. But sometimes it's nice if we can help our families navigate that process just by giving them those resources or telling them where to find them. I highly encourage you to do that too. I have a huge parent activist lens of things when I'm working with families, just because I think they deserve and need all the help that they can get in this time, and where to find those, and if I can make their lives a little bit easier and give them some pointers of things that I've heard about or know about, or somebody has said something, then I'm all about that. So we're really just kind of getting things cleaned up for the summer and getting ready to go. It's a crazy time. It's a crazy time for everyone. Everyone's feeling the pressure. Everyone's feeling the crazy to get things completed, like I said. So really making sure that you're taking time for yourself as we wind down the school year is super important too. Really planning for what you're going to do this summer, and maybe it's nothing and that's okay. And maybe it's just some time to yourself, a vacation, different things, but really taking that time for yourself because these last couple weeks are intense. There's a lot of unstructured time, and in special education, I and especially my EBD brain, um, unstructured time is kind of scary for us because there's a lot of activities in the classroom. It's really busy, and really just ensuring that you can continue to give your students that structure until the end kind of helps everyone. So I hope that this next coming week is great for you. Next week we'll be back with another guest. I'm going to hopefully twist someone's arm to get them to come on with me, even though it's kind of this crazy busy season. Maybe I can grab someone and we can get a good conversation going. But I appreciate your like, your follow, and your share and your continued support. If you ever need anything, I do obviously consult, and I am available for consultation for next year, for the summer, if you have any programming needs, due process needs. Um, any type of anything that you're looking for, really, I can find for you, whether it's myself or whether it's another contractor that you might be looking for, professional development, right? Like, do you need trainings? Do you need trainings in different testing? Do you need trainings in evals and IEPs and due process writing? We have a lot of consultants available to help you. So if you need anything, please reach out. I would be happy to help you. All right. Have a great day. And if you're in Minnesota, obviously enjoy the sunshine that we finally have. Thanks, guys.